Hello and welcome back. I am Tom, it's my friend George, and this week again we're going to be talking about health because it seems topical, and doing a few exercises around that. So we're going to start off with the listening exercise. George and I are just going to ask each other some questions about our health, so if you listen to that, and then we'll move on to the second exercise, which is going to involve some new vocabulary maybe, and some reading. So I'll start the question and answer session by asking George, what do you do to stay healthy?
So I like to eat well. I like to eat a mainly vegetarian diet, and I like to exercise. So I'm really into running.
Excellent. And do you get ill very often?
Not a huge amount. I'd say a few times a year I'll get a little bit ill with normally the flu or something. But generally I'm pretty healthy most of the time.
And is there anything you'd like to improve about your fitness?
Well, as I said, I'm really into my exercise, my sport, and what I'd like to do is hopefully get a bicycle and start some long distance bicycle riding.
Cool. And are you careful about what you eat?
Yeah, I try to be, definitely. I think since Christmas, I've tried to cut out meat from my diet and try to eat less fast food and eat less sugary drinks and things like that.
And how important is a healthy lifestyle to you? I think we know what the answer to that is going to be.
Very important. I find that there's an old saying that the body is a temple, and I try to adhere to that and try to keep my mind and my body healthy by eating well and practicing exercise.
Excellent.
So, Tom, what do you do to stay healthy?
Well, walking is my big thing. I'm not a huge sports guy, but I really love going on long walks in the city or in the countryside, doesn't matter. Obviously, here we've got loads of beautiful fields to go and explore, so I'm doing lots of that at the moment.
And do you get ill very often?
Barely ever, thankfully, and we've all stayed healthy for the last few weeks as well, which is great news.
Is there anything you'd like to improve about your fitness?
Yeah, strong, get really, really strong.
Are you careful about what you eat?
I try and pick quality food. I do still eat a fair bit of meat, but the meat that I get, I try and buy from farmers and butchers rather than heavily processed stuff from supermarkets.
And how important is a healthy lifestyle for you?
Oh, very important. As you said, the body is a temple and we need to look after it. So we are going to move on to the vocab and comprehension exercise now, guys. So first of all, George and I are going to take it in turns to read out some vocabulary and phrases that are going to come up in the text, which we'll read afterwards. And then once we've learnt the vocabulary and read the text, we'll answer some true, false, or doesn't say questions. So if you go to the descriptor bar, the box underneath the video, you'll see a link to the Google Drive, and that's going to have the exercise in. So if you take a second to get that up, pause the video if you need to, and I will start off with the first piece of vocabulary, which is to look after your health, or to take care of your health. So for example, in a sentence you could say, I believe I'm still able to enjoy an active life in my 80s because I have always looked after my health.
And the next one is unhealthy. So this means to be harmful to health or not having good health. For example, smoking is an unhealthy habit.
Number 3, you'll often hear people in terms of health talking about a balanced diet. And a balanced diet is a diet that's a combination of healthy types and amounts of food. So for example, in a sentence, eating a balanced diet is important for staying healthy.
And the next one is vigorous exercise. That's vigorous exercise. So that means intense exercise that can cause sweating or heavy breathing and increase the heart rate. For example, vigorous exercise helps to keep the heart healthy.
Disease. So disease is an illness caused by infection or poor health. So for example, chickenpox is a very common childhood disease.
And number 6 is healthy diet. So this means mainly eating food that is nutritious and cutting down on sugar and fat. For example, eating a healthy diet can help prevent illness and disease.
And to prevent something is to stop it from happening. So keeping fit can prevent a wide range of health problems from developing. Or governments could contribute to the prevention of health problems by banning the advertising of unhealthy products such as fast food, alcohol, and cigarettes.
Number 8 is health benefit. So the positive effect on a person's health gained from food, activity, medical treatment, or therapy. So, for example, eating fruit and vegetables has many health benefits.
The next phrase is what's called in the English language an idiom. And an idiom is an expression that has a meaning, but none of the words in that expression would tell you. You just need to know what the meaning is. So, for example, if I say I'm over the moon, that means I'm happy. But none of the words over or the or moon mean happy. It's just an expression that we came up with. So that's an idiom. So this idiom is fit as a fiddle. Now, a fiddle, for people who don't know, is another word for a violin. So to be fit as a fiddle means, for some reason, who knows why, that you're in very good health. So for example, I've been running a lot recently and I feel as fit as a fiddle. Or I was fed up with feeling tired, full of aches and pains and always getting colds. So I changed my diet and took up running. Now I'm feeling as fit as a fiddle.
Number 10 is diet. So the type of food and drink a person usually eats and drinks is the diet. In many Asian countries, the staple diet includes lots of rice and vegetables.
So we'll now read some questions, and you're welcome to pause the video or replay the text being read out loud, and then we'll read the answers. And actually, before that, we'll let you read through the text. Feel free to read out loud with me or in your head, and then we'll give you a pause so you can take a look at the questions. So, I often make changes to my lifestyle to try and look after my health. But the one thing I'd like to tell you about is cutting down how much meat I eat. There's been lots of stuff in the media about how unhealthy it is to eat too much meat, especially red meat and processed meat. I was already fairly healthy and ate a balanced diet. But when I took up a new sport, which involved vigorous exercise, I started to think that maybe I should try to cut down on it a little. I was particularly concerned about the increased risk of heart disease and of having a stroke. I know a healthy diet can help to prevent these. I started by cutting out meat 1 day a week and making a vegetarian meal instead. This was easy, so I started doing it twice a week, and then for 3 days. Soon I began to look forward to my non-meat days, as I was discovering many delicious foods that I had never tried before. I also started to eat more fish, which has many health benefits. Within 2 months, I lost nearly half a stone in weight. Although I hadn't actually had a weight problem, it was a nice surprise. Even better, my cholesterol level went down, which I was especially pleased about. I certainly felt as fit as a fiddle. Many of my friends who still eat lots of red meat suffer from high cholesterol, and I'm sure there's a connection. Over time, I found that the less meat I eat, the less I want to eat, and I'm now down to just cooking meat dishes on the weekends. Maintaining this diet is made easier by the fact that I live on my own, so I can cook and eat whatever I want without being influenced by anyone else. If I had to cook a chicken casserole or steak pie for my family, I don't think I'd be strong enough to resist eating it myself. I don't think I'll ever cut out meat altogether, as I enjoy it too much. I can say, however, that going partly vegetarian has definitely saved me money, as meat has gone steadily up in price over the past few years. For this reason, as well as all the others that I've mentioned, I would definitely recommend cutting down on meat. So take a second just to have a think about that, read through it again if you need to, and move on to the answers, the questions and answers section further down on the worksheet. So as it says on the sheet there, the answers to the question will either be true, false, or that it doesn't say. So number 1, I love meat and don't care about what I eat. The answer is false. The piece is about how this person is cutting down on meat, just like George. Number 2, eating lots of red meat is good for you. Well, no, we've seen that that can lead to heart disease or liver disease. So the answer is false there. Maybe not liver disease, actually. Eating meat increases the risk of catching a cold. That is false. It can lead to increased cholesterol, maybe. I like to eat fish because it makes my bones stronger. Now, it doesn't say that, but actually, as it turns out, fish has lots of fats and vitamins, for example, omega-3 and vitamin D in them, which help your bones stay strong. A mainly vegetarian and fish-based diet made me put on weight. That's false. He said that he actually lost half a stone, even though he didn't have a problem with his weight. I live with other people, which makes it hard to cook what I like. False. He says, luckily he lives alone, which is good because if they were cooking meat for their family, they might not be able to resist the temptation of eating it more. And finally, I don't recommend cutting down on meat because it's too expensive to cook vegetables and fish. That is also false. It's the price of meat that's been going up over the last few years. So finally, the final worksheet, which will be the second link in the descriptor box underneath the video. So if you'd like to click on that, and I would say pause the video again to go through the questions, note down your answers, and then we can go through them together. Right. So question number 1, what do you call a pain in the head or neck? That is a headache. Question number 2, if you have chills, fever, muscle pain, you probably have a flu. Number 3, when your body temperature is above the normal range, you have a fever. Question number 4, if you eat contaminated food, you're suffering from food poisoning. Question number 5, what do you call a pain in the ear? That's C. Oh, no, that's my reading that's bad there. That's B, it's an earache. Question number 6, what do you call a head injury with temporary loss of brain function? That is a concussion, which can be very dangerous. Question number 7, if you have red spots, conjunctivitis, and 4-day fever, you probably have measles, which again, quite common for children to get various forms of that, like chickenpox, like we spoke about earlier. Question number 8, if you have throat inflammation, if your throat is swollen, you have a sore throat. Which is a bit confusing because we say earache, so letter A on question 8 does sound like it makes sense, and people would understand you if you said you had a throat ache, but it's just for some reason we don't really say it. Question number 9, if you need to wear a cast on your arm, you probably have a fracture, so you haven't fully broken a bone, but you've cracked it, basically. Question number 10, what do you call it when you fall down and part of your skin starts to darken? So it's not cut, but it's a bruise. Question number 11, what do you call painful sensations caused by muscle contractions? Some people get this in their arms and legs quite a lot, and you feel the muscle like tightening up. So those are called cramps. Question number 12. What do you call it when a person has difficulty falling asleep? That's insomnia. Yes. Question number 13. What do you call a small pocket of fluid under the skin? That's C. It's a blister. So say if you were, as I was recently, working very hard with your hands, you might get big blisters here and here, and they're quite painful and sore, and they often have liquid inside them. Number 14, if you're feeling a strong pain in your chest, this is a serious one, it's A, you're probably having a heart attack. Question number 15, what do you call it when a person has high blood pressure? That is quite diabetes. High blood sugar. Sorry guys, I misread that very badly. But lucky that I saw that the answer was completely wrong if it was what I thought it was. Yeah, high blood pressure is just called high blood pressure. High blood sugar is diabetes. And B, insulin, is the one of the medicines that can be used to treat that. Question number 16. A person that has difficulty in defecating suffers from, unfortunately, constipation. 17. People who have repeated unprovoked seizures suffer from epilepsy, which you can get all kinds of ways, and it's pretty scary. Number 18. What do you call the shedding of dead skin from the scalp? That's dandruff. Some people suffer with it. You get little white flakes in your hair, and it's not very dangerous, but just not very pleasant. Number 19. What do you call the symptoms that follow heavy alcohol consumption? That's a hangover, when you feel rubbish the next morning and dehydrated. Question number 20. What do you call an injury to ligaments caused by overstretching them? That is a sprain. So you might hear people say, if they fall over running, I've sprained my ankle. And yeah, it's where you stretch all the ligaments and tendons, and it's very sore for a few days and you struggle to walk on it. And 21, what do you call a chronic inflammatory disease of the airways? And that is asthma, where you struggle to breathe and have to carry an inhaler. So that is the final part of the lesson. I hope that has been interesting and maybe you've learned a few new words. If not, got to hear a couple of guys speaking in English, which is also good. So thank you and have a lovely one. Stay safe.